Shalom, it's Ruben Ebrahimoff. This week is a special Haftorah. It's called Shabbat Shekalim. Let me tell you, there's a cycle every year of 4 special Haftorahs that we read in Adar and in Nisan. The 4 of them are called Shekalim, Para, Zachor, and HaChodesh. The 4 of them. This is the first one, Shekalim. And, as you can imagine, it talks about shekels. It turns out we read a second Torah on Shabbat Shekalim. And from the Parsha of Kitisa, we read the obligation of every man above the age of 20 to donate half a shekel to the temple. And there were 3 reasons why that they would do that. Number 1, it would form as a census, a way of counting how many people there were. 2, it unified everybody. Everybody felt a part of a common cause. And then the third thing is that they used the money to keep the place in good shape. And they were fixing up the Beit HaMikdash. So this week is Shabbat Shekalim, and we read from the book of Melachim, from the book of Kings. And the Sfardim and the Ashkenazim read different portions, but I'm going to tell you the whole story. And this is a fantastic story. Now we know a little bit about the history of the Jewish people, that there was a king, Achav and Izebel. Yes, we've had him in a couple of Haftorahs this year. They had a daughter, Atalia. What did Atalia do? She became the queen of Yehudah. The parents was the queen and king of Israel, the 10 northern tribes, and now the daughter goes and marries and becomes the queen. What does she do? Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And the mother had set out to kill every worshiper of Yud Kei Vav Kei left in the nation of Israel. Remember, there was only 7,000 prophets left, and that Ovadja had hid 100 Nevi'im in a cave, 50 in one cave, 50 in another. Things didn't look good. She's killing off, Atalia is killing off every last person from the Davidic dynasty, except one, the subject of our Haftarah, Yehoash. And he was hid as an infant in the Beit HaMikdash, where the Kohen Gadol's quarters were, so that she couldn't find them. She didn't have access to that area of the Beit HaMikdash. And upon this boy turning 7 years old, they took him on to the Temple Mount, and then they surrounded him, and they coronated him, and they made him the child king of Judea. And what does she do? Atalia comes and she sees what's going on, and she says, Cabal, Cabal, there's a conspiracy here. I'm the queen, I'm the leader. Not for long. She is murdered right on the spot. And now Yehoash goes on to be king. Well, he sees that they have not been keeping the ceremonies in the Beit HaMikdash. And he tells, by command of the king, that they should renovate Berak HaBayit, the Beit HaMikdash, and use these shekalim that people donate. Well, the money is not going to what it's supposed to go for. He goes to the king. Yehoash goes to the king, Yehoyada, Kohen Gadol, and he says, excuse me, this is your responsibility to make sure that this Beis HaMikdash is repaired and the services are conducted correctly here. And he said, aye, aye, sir. He goes and he puts a big crate, a big box, and he cuts a little hole in it. Yes, the first mention of a tzedakah box in the history. And he puts it in the entranceway to the Beit HaMikdash. As people are walking to the Mizbeach, they're putting the money in. As the chest filled up, the money was taken out and distributed amongst the workers in the Beit HaMikdash. So this repairing of the Beit HaMikdash takes place as a result of this great man, Yehoash, and it revives the observance of the holidays in the Beit HaMikdash and the Avodah, the worshipping in the Beit HaMikdash. A couple of interesting points is, if you look in the book of Divrai Hayamim about this story, there are certain things that are added and subtracted about the story. So I recommend that you can look at Divrai Hayamim, the Beit 2 in Pirakim Chav Gimel and Chav Dalet. Also, we know what happened. Yehoyada's son, the Kohen Gadol's son, after he passed away, his name was Zechariah, not the Navi Zechariah, but a Kohen Gadol's son. And what does he see? That the people of Israel, they were a little naive and misinformed. They start talking about this king Yehoash as if he's some sort of deity, as if he's some sort of God-like figure. And Zechariah says, you can't talk about him that way. He's a human being. He's just a king. This Zechariah gets murdered, and his blood, in the Gemara Gittin, says, rested on the Temple Mount. 250 years later, Nebuzaradan, the general of Nebuchadnezzar's army, looks down and he says, what is this blood over here? Read it in the Gemara. Long story short, he says, has this blood ever been avenged? No. And Nebuzaradan goes and he kills and he slaughters many, many Jews. So we have to watch what we do to each other, because midah keneged midah, and measure for measure. But here's the important thing we got to take away from this Haftarah. It doesn't matter how old you are. You could find something that you're passionate about, you could find something that you want to revive, and you could find something, regardless of age, that you could lead and spearhead and pioneer in your family, in your community, in the world. I was challenged to find a mitzvah to revive. Luckily, I found the Haftorahs was a neglected area, but not for long. Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy the Haftarah. Thank you.